What is required for an affidavit to be considered valid under the definitions and general terms section? Well, let's have a look at the definition of affidavit found at the definitions and general terms section of the Notary Public License Law booklet. And it states an affidavit is a signed statement duly sworn to by the maker thereof before a notary public or other officer authorized to administer oaths. The venue or county wherein the affidavit was sworn to should be accurately stated. But here's the key for this question. But it is of far more importance that the affiant, the person making the affidavit, should have personally appeared before the notary and have made oath to the statements contained in the affidavit as required by law. So with this in mind, let's have a look at the four choices to determine the solution. Choice A states the affidavit must be notarized over a video conference. Now, this may be appropriate in certain circumstances of digital notarizations amongst other requirements, but this is not the requirement that's stressed or emphasized in the definition of affidavit as I read from before, and therefore choice A is not our solution. Choice B states the affiant must personally appear before the notary. Well, this aligns with what I read from before in the definition, but before we mark it as a correct solution, let's have a look at choices C and D just to be certain. Choice C states the affidavit requires a witness other than the notary to sign. Once again, as in A, sometimes this may be a requirement depending on the circumstances of the affidavit, but that's not the requirement that's emphasized in the definition of affidavit as I read from, and therefore choice C is not the correct solution either. And finally, choice D states the notary must use a digital signature to validate the affidavit. Once again, while this may apply in cases of digital notarizations, this is not what's emphasized in the definition of affidavit as I read from before, and therefore choice D is not the correct solution either, which indeed leaves choice B. The affiant must personally appear before the notary as the correct solution.